the recording. Good evening, everyone. I have a few messages before we go on to the competition. Uh, February 4th is the NJFCC pictorial competition. Registration is open for that. I will send out the link to register, or you can go to the NJFCC website. Under competition schedule, there's a link to register through that. Then on February 9th, which hopefully will be an in-person meeting, uh, the it's a program. It's painting with the camera with Dave DeRoche. And he does some really fabulous work with in-camera motion, and a whole bunch of really creative ideas. So it should be a really good program. And then on February 23rd will be our next competition, which happens to be water in any form. And I'm mentioning that because we've got plenty of water out there in fluffy white form, and it might give you a good opportunity to get out over the next few days with things like frozen water, and icicles and some interesting winter stuff that would be great for the competition. Back in December, we had our holiday party, but a number of people were sick and were unable to attend. So we made the decision to hold the 50-50 drawing at our next in-person meeting, which now looks like it'll be February 9th. So if anybody didn't have an opportunity to get some tickets, we have plenty of tickets, and let me know if you'd like some. And the other thing that we'll do at that February meeting is we pulled back one of our silent auction items, and we'll do that at that meeting too, so that those people that were sick that evening will be able to have a little bit of a late holiday party. Upcoming in March is Photorama. That's on March 28th. And we have a professional nature photographer, David Akubayan. He's a Tamron sponsored photographer, and he has a fabulous website, which I'll be sending out some information and the link. And he does all kinds of nature photography, from wildlife to macro work uh, to landscapes. So if you're interested in any aspect of nature, it should be a great day. Last week we had the NJFCC nature competition, and we only had a couple of entries for that. Um, Given the holidays, I didn't even get a chance to enter anything. And with our two entries, Fern with Boulder and Rocks, you received a score of 19, and Margot with Torres del Pine, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, you received a score of 17. And hopefully in the spring competition, we'll get a few more entries in to the nature competition. And that's all that I have in the way of announcements. Does anybody have anything that they want to say before we get on with the competition? Okay. Bill, you want to share the screen and bring up the.
Yes. Here we go. Okay, will everybody seeing it?
Yes, can see it.
Okay, good. Now remember how to get rid of, we get rid of that stupid bar already. Shrink you guys. Here we go. Assign B, abstract, New Jersey windows.
Very, very interesting. Um, I like what the maker did with this. Um, I like how by using the windows, everything that you're seeing through the windows has been abstracted. A couple of points with this. I think that you've got to watch, and I don't know, can you see what I'm circling?
I can.
Okay. You've got to be careful with your whites when you're doing this because what happens is that when you've got a white uh, area like this, the judge or the viewer's eye is drawn directly to that area. And some of these darker areas that are on the outside, you're not are not as noticeable because of the overwhelming existence of the white. But I'll take another look at this 7.
Lion on the boardwalk.
Okay, let me get rid of. Where's the. Okay, there we go. Very interesting abstract. I like how you found Mars on the boardwalk that led you to see a lion in it. And one of the things about abstracts is that they're supposed to evoke both emotions and conversation. And I think this one very easily falls into both of those categories as to what the viewer is seeing and what it could be. It's a good composition, and I like it even though the lion is in the middle of the image, and I think the lighting was handled very well. 7.
Red bottle brush.
Okay. This is not an abstract. I can tell exactly what it is. This was something that would fall into a nature category. Now, if you wanted to go for an abstract, you might have zoomed in on one little section or something like that. But as it stands, this is too representational of what it is to be an abstract, a 6.
Pull.
Okay. This turned out to be a really interesting abstract. I like although from a previous conversation, I know what it is. Before that conversation, I had no idea exactly what it is. And I really like the way that the maker used the lines in this piece of chrome to play against the blue, and then this red section to play against the red uh, in the background. I think this works very well. Um, Having it at an angle makes it a more interesting image. 7.
Colors of the ocean in motion.
Okay, this is a nice abstract. One of the suggestions that I'm going to make to the maker is that when you have sections like this that are totally black or close to black, you want to put a stroke around your image so that the judge knows when the image begins and when it ends. Right now, there with this black section, it just flows off of the image and you're not seeing any end to it. I think the other thing is that you probably want to tone down some of your bright spots, because what's happening is you're losing definition in these sections, which have really nice color, and like to see more of the color and less of the sections like this with white. I will take another look at this. 7.
Brown red lanternfly.
Hmm. Okay. It's an interesting abstract. Um, I like the way that uh, the circle brings the viewer's eye all around the abstract. Once again, you gotta watch these white areas. They just draw the eye away from all of the interesting ridges in the green section, and it takes away from your image. The other thing with this image is there's a lot of negative space in through here where there isn't much happening. Maybe if you had zoomed out a little bit and gotten these ripples that are on the edges uh, more into this section of the image, it would have helped to hold the interest. 6.
Space time, a still life.
Okay. Looks like an early Miro. Uh, I like the way that the maker put the objects in the image. It's a good composition. The background is, although it's bright, it's muted enough that it highlights the shapes that are your subject. I'm just going to give you one little nitpicky thing. Right up here in the corner, this little portion here, I would have used a little healing brush just to take that out because it's distracting just sitting up in the corner like that. Uh, and the healing brush probably would have brought in the color that's at the top of this section and wouldn't have that uh, bright red in there. Uh, Otherwise, I think it's a pretty successful abstract to 7.
Swirl of blue jellyfish.
Very nice abstract. And if you look at this image, you can see where the whites in here were handled very well. There's only one spot that I can say is a little bit bright, but that doesn't even really bother me that much. I love the motion that this depicts. Uh, the one suggestion I'm going to make is put a stroke around this so you know where it ends. It's kind of hard to define where the dark blue ends and the black starts. Um, Otherwise, nice composition, good abstract, 7.
Flower from the Great Swamp.
Okay. Now, some abstracts are partial abstracts, and you can make out uh, some of what the image is about. And this one falls into that category. I like the motion that you've depicted here. Uh, I'm wondering if it would be because you've got so much negative space in the middle here. I'm wondering if cropping it down a little bit and having it as more of a panorama uh, rectangle might make it a stronger image. I'll take another look at this as 7.
All right.
Okay. 8, 8, 9, 7, 9, 9, 7.
Sign B abstract. Honorable mention. New Jersey Windows, Leon Lebrowski. Lion on the Boardwalk, Francine Silver. Equal Merit. Pull, Leon Lebronsky. Space Time is Still Life, Leon Lebronsky. Swirl of Blue Jellyfish, Francine Silver. Okay. Signed A abstract. Winery.
Looks like some in-camera motion. Um, really like the way that uh, the maker, yeah, let's start again. I really like the composition that the maker used in this, with the leading lines going all down through the abstract. The color progression is really good. And you can see what I was saying uh, to the B group, that it makes a difference with the stroke around the image. 7.
Broken.
Ah, love the abstracts that you can get from peeling paint uh, and from rust. They're fascinating. And this looks like peeling paint to me. And I think the composition works very well with this. Uh, the detail down here balances off the larger portions up top. Uh, the lighting is handled well. 7.
Ref, reflections, I believe.
Okay. This is another partial abstract. You can still tell what a little bit of what the objects were that were reflected. It appears like a silo or a windmill and a barn. Uh, but using uh, some in-camera motion caused by the water, uh, you have a partial abstract. Uh, I think on this one, I may have done, uh, I need my, where'd I lose my pen here? Okay. Think I may have cut this, cropped it at that point, just to bring the viewer further into the image, and maybe a crop here, uh, just to bring the viewer further into the image. There's a lot of negative space here, and everything is kind of jammed into this section towards the top of the image. I'll take another look at it, a 7.
It's a twirl.
Okay, nice composition with this, good lighting. I like the way that uh, the swirl was done. I have a suspicion that it used to be a flower before the swirl. Um, but I think this was handled well, and I like how that the maker used what were once leaves and a stem to frame the swirling flower. A 7.
Lotus.
Okay. It's a good abstract, a good composition there. Once again, I'm going to say watch your white spots, especially here where it lands right in the middle of the image. Um, kind of easier, kind of easy to, if you're working with Photoshop, to do a little cloning and move a little bit of this texture down into the white or just to tone down the white because it's in a bad spot and it's one of the only things that uh, initially draws the viewer. Um, really like the swirls, um, except for that one spot. I think it's a good abstract, but that one spot just takes away so much from what would have been a strong image. 6.
Dancing lights.
I don't do in-camera motion that much, uh, but I really do like uh, the results when I do it. Um, like how the lights are dancing across the image. I would probably cut a little bit off the top. And I don't know if you really need this reflection down here. I think your point of interest is the dancing lights, and you maybe would have a stronger image by just focusing on the lights dancing across the page. 6.
Patterns.
Flowing water always provides for a nice abstract. I like the way that the maker caught these colors, good lighting on this, nice movement in the water. 7.
Complex.
Okay, looks like paint strokes on this. And even though there's a very bright white spot down here, the white spot up top, they kind of balance each other off. So they're not as distracting as some of the other white spots that I've seen. Um, love the detail in what looks like brush strokes to me. I think it was nicely captured. 7.
I lost my tree.
Okay. This is not an abstract. This is a nature image. And I've got to say, it would be a really interesting image for general nature. Um, I like the detail in the tree, in the either the roots or the limbs from the tree, highlighting the leaf in one spot. I'm going to give this a 6 and say re-enter it in nature because it works much better for that than for abstract.
Okay.
9, 8, 7, 8, 9, 8.
Honorable mention, Broken, Fernando Gomes. It's a Twirl, Margot Partridge. Complex, Fernando Gomes. Equal Merit, Winery, Margot Partridge. Patterns, Margot Partridge. Okay. Assigned Salon, Abstract. Shipwrecked Abstract.
This one is really tough. I the detail at on this portion of the image and the colors are amazing. I really, it's a great abstract. The composition is good. The lighting is good. This is your problem right here. That is a little bit too identifiable for an abstract. I would probably cut it right there and you would have a really nice abstract uh, because the detail in the wood here uh, is fascinating. I will take another look at this 7.
Mask of Zorro.
Good use of color in this, nice composition. Uh, really like the way that the maker put this abstract together. Um, can see a lot of different things in it that aren't necessarily the Mask of Zorro. Um, could be a bonfire with some dancers down here. This was handled very well. 7.
Milkweed Fiber Oil and Lights.
Another fascinating abstract. Uh, good use of color. Uh, nice composition. Uh, really like the way that the maker used this line to balance out the intensity of all the colors down here in the rest of the image. Uh, and the background also plays to that balance. 7.
Reads and Reflections in Abstract.
Okay. I like the abstraction that the maker put together uh, with this. I think that it would have been a stronger image with a lot less of the negative white space there, uh, because you just want to center in on the reeds and the reflections and the movement that you see in the reeds, sort of like a dance occurring. And there's just too much white space taking away from the interest in the center of the image. I'll take another look at this 7.
What a hoot.
Very nice abstract. Um, like the composition, the placement. Uh, if you'll notice how well the whites around the what might be eyes were handled very well. Um, the suggestion from the lines of a body. Uh, I think this was very successful. Um, and one of the things to note, it makes a difference when you put the stroke around the image because you know where it begins and where it ends. And I think it also serves to accent your image. 7.
Lights and shadows.
Okay, the reds are handled well in this. And reds are something that can give a maker a lot of trouble. I think by having the dark negative space here and the lighter space down in this corner, that the maker has successfully balanced the composition of the image. 7.
Amazing plan.
This is an interesting abstract, but the problem that uh, running into in this image is that the whites are so bright and just taking over the entire image. I want to see more of the detail here in the yellow with the ridges or teeth and more of the green lines in this and less of the white. 6.
Rainbow vortex.
Very nice use of color and composition in this image. It looks to me like it was long exposure with some sort of light source. I think the placement, which is on an angle, works very well. 7.
Bubbles and lights.
Okay. Okay, this abstract works very well. I like the muted approach to the background, good composition. Uh, the smaller circles balance off the big circle very well. As you can see from the composition, the placement with the angling um, and the off-center approach works very well. 7.
Migrations in motion. What the
Okay, this is definitely not an abstract. Uh, I'm gonna DQ this one or give it a 6, whichever's easier, Bill.
That was the last one anyway.
Okay. Hmm. 7, 8, 8, 8, 9, 9, 9, 9.
Science Salon Abstract, honorable mention. Mask of Zorro, Charlene Fedowitz. Milkweed Fiber, Oil and Lights, Lenny McDonald. Reads and Reflection in Abstract, Wendy Milligan. Equal Merit, What a Hoot, Charlene Fedowitz. Lights and Shadow, Lenny McDonald. Rainbow Vortex, Charlene Fedowitz. Bubbles and Lights, Lenny McDonald. Okay, on to the open.
Okay.
Contest. Open B, Dahlia Bouquet.
Okay. All right. It's an interesting way of seeing the dahlias. A couple of things. I am seeing a lot of spots here where the petals of the dahlias are just totally out of focus. Uh, I'm seeing focus here and I'm seeing focus down here. The rest of it is quite blurry. And then you've got these hot spots over here, which just draw the eye right to them. 6.
Bearded Iris.
Nice capture of the iris. Um, like the composition that it's at an angle and not straight on. It makes the image more interesting. Uh, it is nice and sharp throughout the center and the top of the petals where it needs to be. Falls off a little bit down here, but that doesn't bother me. I'm glad that the maker put a stroke around it. My only thing is that right here, and I know this is the B group, you're getting very, very close to the edge. My suggestion is add a little bit of canvas in your post so that it isn't that close to the edge. Otherwise, I think you have a really nice image there. 7.
Telescopic.
think I would have liked to have seen this entered in the abstract. Um, I think this works as an abstract image, even though you can see somewhat of the apartment building. I think it so much in the distance that it works either as an abstract or minimalism. I like that it's off to the side and not centered in the middle. I think that works well. 7.
Poppies.
Okay. Once again, I'm going to say you need a stroke around this. Um, couple of things. Excuse me a second. Needed a drink of water there. Um, you've got these two poppies here overlapping, which is taking away from the composition of the image. I think if your center poppy moved over a little bit and overlapped slightly on this top poppy and not so much on the bottom one, it would have been a stronger image. The other thing that concerns me is I'm seeing ghosts in the background. And by ghosts, I mean uh, these shadowy areas where I think the maker tried to darken the back. And with these type of images, either you want to totally darken your background or you want to you have some of it visible in a blur. But having ghostly shadows in the background just takes away from your image. And please, please, please put a stroke around it. 6.
I'm watching you.
Okay. It's a good composition in the image. Um, you're losing all of the detail in the top of the dog's head. It's very, very bright and you've lost the detail. You have a lot more detail in the rocks of the fireplace than you do of the dog. Also, you've got to watch your edges. You have something over here that I'm not sure what it is. Uh, that's just distracting on the edge. You don't need so much of what I'm assuming is a chair or a sofa because your subject is the dog peeking up. 6.
Winter forest.
Okay, interesting image. I took me a while to make out the trees. I think you probably wanted to be able to pull out a little more detail in the trees in this section so that they're a little more visible. Um, and I'm hoping that it just isn't my computer. I don't know if you need all of the negative space up at the top here, unless there is detail in there that you can pull out. On the bottom of the image where it's bright is your most interesting part of the image, and everything falls off towards the top. 6.
Cactus flower.
Okay, nice placement of the flower in the image. Uh, Good detail of the cactus, and I like the detail in the center of the flower here. I would have cropped this a little bit more, uh, bringing it down there and bringing it down there, because you've got a lot of negative white space that you really don't need. The other thing that I would suggest is a little dodging in here to bring out some additional details uh, from the plant. I'll take another look at this, a 7.
Showing off.
Okay. The flower itself is handled very nicely. I like the detail that the maker got in the center here, and the details in all the petals around the flower. What takes away from the flower is the background. Uh, Two suggestions for the background is to mute some of the greens and the brightness and intensity of the greens. You might want to do a little blur in the background. And these little blue, whatever they are, flowers, uh, it would be more effective to do a little healing brush and take them out of the image, because they do draw the viewer away from the flower. And the flower is handled very, very well. But you've got to work on your background. I'll take another look at this one, a 7.
The machine.
Hmm. Really interesting image. I like the way that the maker handled this. Uh, it's a partial abstract with some very fascinating elements. Not and would be open to quite a bit of debate about what the maker was thinking when they took this image. Uh, the composition is interesting. The whites in this were handled well. 7.
Okay.
9. 9, 8, 7, 8,
Open B, honorable mention. Cactus Flower, Edward Schulman. The Machine, Leon Liberansky. Equal Merit, Bearded Iris, Francine Silver. Telescopic, Leon Liberansky. Open A. Open A, Boulder and Rocks.
Okay. I like the composition on this, like the interplay with the boulder and the water. Um, and I'll be honest, I've seen this image before in our critiques. Um, and I think that the maker really listened to our critique, and it's a much stronger image. 7.
Torres del Paine, 2.
Okay, I like the way that uh, the maker handled the different elements in this image. Uh, the foreground, the water, the first set of hills, and then the mountains off in the distance. I think that uh, it really worked with the changing of the different types of elements that make up the image. 7.
Woodland Decay.
I think this is, I like the use of the panorama in this image. I think that uh, works well. Um, the what looks to be an abandoned house set back in the woods. I think the trees were used well to frame the house, and I like how the foreground was used as a lead-in to the house, uh, making for an interesting composition. 7.
Towers of Pain.
Okay. And the maker used the foreground as a good lead-in to the image. Would have liked to have seen some more details in the mountains. I think there are spots here where the details were really lost. Um, I don't know if I would have included all of the sky. Uh, this portion up here, come on. This portion up here is really blown out and takes away from the image. I think I may have cut the sky right there at that point. Uh, I'll take another look at this, a 7.
Slither.
This is an interesting abstract. I'm kind of surprised that the maker didn't put this into the abstract portion of the competition. Uh, like the way that uh, the pink portion kind of serves as a leading line to move the viewer's eye around the image. Um, it's somewhat it's somewhat uh, balanced. I am I wish this white portion was toned down a little bit. Um, Otherwise, I think it's a pretty good composition. 7.
Purple flower.
Okay. The flower is nice and sharp where it needs to be. A little bit bright in the center, but that's really not bothering me. I don't think that all of the background was necessary. Um, but on a whole, the background was handled well. I think it would be a stronger image with taking some, cropping some off the top of this. Uh, I'll look at this again, a 7. 8, 9, 9, 8, 8, 7.
Open A, honorable mention. Boulder and Rocks, Fernando Gomes. Tower of Pain, Margot Partridge. Slither, Fernando Gomes. Equal Merit, Torres del Paine 2, Margot Partridge. Woodland Decay, Fernando Gomes. And finally,
Now,
yes,
uh, Wendy said that her photos didn't get into the contest for Group A.
I downloaded whatever was on the website.
Okay.
Whatever was uploaded to that server is what I downloaded.
Okay. I
Yeah,
don't know what happened, Wendy.
Yeah, they were in the first go round, but not in the second. And they were submitted the same exact time.
I don't know. I mean, after a
Oh,
score, it doesn't come up, so
We'll have to figure out what happened. Sorry about that.
mm-hmm.
yeah, I can't go back after we score it to see if there's any more photos. Okay. Open Salon, Brick Art.
I know exactly what building that is. I really like the way that the maker framed this piece of architecture. I think it works well. Um, the building and the history of the building is something that fascinated me, and it's one that when we did the architecture walk in New York that we saw. I think this was handled very nicely to get in the curves and the shape that the architect put together. 7.
Crisscross the nature.
Interesting image. Could almost say it's minimalistic. Um, I like kind of looks like a dance or a struggle. I think that the maker handled this well. I like the composition. It was placed off center, and then you've got uh, the angles, which make it a more interesting image. A 7.
Light dancer.
Like the way this long exposure turned out. Uh, Nice composition, good use of color, like the placement within the frame. 7.
Acrobatic dueling.
Okay, the birds are nice and sharp. Interesting interaction going on between the birds. Uh, Caught at a very unique time. Uh, 7.
Thunder swan migration.
Who's in the other
Huh. Uh, is this the same image that was entered that
I think
I?
one?
it's a different name, but it looks the same.
Okay. Well, since this is open, I will score this one. Um, I like the use of the high key in this. Um, Nice flight pattern. A couple of them seem to be heading away, but I think it's an interesting capture. Uh, Nice composition. Like the separation between the birds. 7.
Versterhorn Mountain at sunrise.
Okay. Like the way that the maker used the ice at as a foreground element to lead the viewer into the image. Um, the sunrise plays nicely on the mountains. I don't know if all of the cloud cover was really necessary. Um, Nice lighting, good composition. 7.
The standoff.
Okay, nice shot of the fox. Nice and sharp. You've got the little guy looking directly at you. Hopefully he's not begging to be fed. Uh, your background was handled very well. It doesn't take anything away from the fox. Um, my only nitpicky thing is going to be if you see these little white spots down here, take a couple of minutes and just uh, use some your healing brush and get rid of them because it just take away from what's a really nice sharp uh, image of the fox. 7.
Light drawing outside.
Okay. Another nice long exposure with the light source. This one's a little more compacted and not as well defined as the other one is, and I'll give it a 7, take another look at it.
Sparkling violet.
Okay. Nice capture of unique time with the bird. Would have liked to have seen a little more of the face, although I can see the eyes. Um, the backlighting makes it a little more interesting, and I might have not kept so much of the background there. 7. Okay. 9. 8. 9. 8. 8. 9. 9. 7. 8.
Open Salon, honorable mention. Crisscrossed in Nature, Wendy Milligan. Acrobatic Dueling, Charlene Fedowitz. Tundra Swine Migration, Wendy Milligan. Sparkling Violeteer, Lenny McDonald. Equal Merit, Brick Art, Charlene Fedowitz. Light Dancer, Lenny McDonald. Restaurant Mountain at Sunrise, Lenny McDonald. The Standoff, Charlene Fedowitz. And there we go.
Hey, some very nice images tonight. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. If no one has any questions, I guess I will say good night to everybody and hope to see everybody in person in on February 9th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay.
And Wendy will try to figure out what. Oh, she's gone already.